So Hillary Clinton has announced that she's not running for president. So mixed feelings on that. If she does run, she helps split the centrist / corporatist / establishment vote more. So you'd have a bunch of the corporatists, running, and then you split the vote even more, and you pave a path for that lefty Bernie to get through. So from that perspective, it's a negative thing she's not running, but it's a positive thing she's not running because I don't know about you guys, but I'm so monumentally Hillary'd out. Like, I can't bear to think about Hillary Clinton for even another second. I mean, it's just so tedious, and I mean, I really think she's one of the, even putting policy aside, which we shouldn't, because on policy she's been really bad, Iraq War, Patriot Act, so on and so forth. But from a politics perspective, she's been one of the worst politicians I've ever seen in my life. Like, she's somewhat unique in that the more she talks, the more people hate her. I'm not kidding about that. And you can't say, oh my God, that's sexism, that's this, that's that. No, that's not true at all. The more Tulsi Gabbard speaks, the more people like her. By the way, I don't mean the media, because they've been smearing her nonstop, but regular people. It has nothing to do with gender, none of that. It's just, by the way, right now, when you look at polls, Donald Trump has been destroying the country for 2 years, and he polls higher than Hillary today. That's unheard of. Every other time in history, after a president was elected and they've been implementing policies for an extended period of time and they've been under all this scrutiny, you ask about the person who had just lost the election a year or two later, and their approval rating shoots back up. Hillary's hasn't. And I think one of the most important reasons for that is she never really went away. She was always like, I'm going to hide in the woods for 3 months and I'll pop out and there'll be a story about me. And so she never went away. So the wounds are still there and everybody's like, stop it. Go away, please. So the downside of her not running is she doesn't split the vote more on that establishment side. The upside of her running is self-explanatory. We don't have to deal with another election season of breaking down Hillary Clinton, covering her, because it's so tedious and I can't take it. And it's just, she's so bad at this that it's hard to bring yourself to talk about this stuff. Like, I don't even want to talk about this story right now that I'm talking to you guys about. I don't want to talk about this. I have to talk about it because it's an important story. So she's not running. However, one of the upsides I just said about her not running, you can get rid of that. Because look, this is from The Hill. They say Hillary Clinton will take on active role in 2020 campaign to unify the Democratic Party. Oh, stop it. Stop it. In all seriousness, if she cares about actually defeating Donald Trump, please, Hillary, sit on the sidelines. Please, 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 please sit on the sidelines. If you actually care about defeating Donald Trump. Now, if you ask Hillary, I'm sure she'd say that's thing number one on the list is defeating Donald Trump. But now, if/when it's Bernie Sanders who wins the primary, are you still going to say the same thing? Like, thing number one is defeating Donald Trump. My guess is, in her mind, she thinks, a corporatist is definitely going to win the primary, which is why I'm going to say the most important thing is defeating Donald Trump. But if it actually is Bernie, are you going to, make the same claim? Maybe she will. But either way, please sit on the sidelines because you're not, I don't think she gets it. She's not helping. She's not helping. Now, they go into more specifics in the article and they say exactly what she means or what's interpreted by what she means when she says, I'm going to help as much as I can. I think she's going to do, this doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be involved in the presidential race. What it means is at the Senate level, for lower races, she, if somebody were to want her help campaigning in certain districts, then she might help there. But listen, even in situations like that, most places don't want to see your face. Now, are there rare, relatively high income, fiscally conservative, socially liberal districts where she actually might help? Yeah. Yes, there are some. There are some in California. There are some in New York. I know, the district that I'm in New York, which is just outside of the city, it's relatively high income, and when you looked at the numbers for the Democratic primary, it was depressing in 2016 because Hillary Clinton crushed in this area. Because you have so many places where it's higher income and they don't like when Bernie Sanders talks about raising their taxes. So they see in Hillary Clinton a Democratic candidate who doesn't hate gay people, doesn't hate black people or other minorities, but she's also not going to raise their taxes as much. So they're like, oh, we prefer Hillary. So is it okay to maybe make an appearance in some of the high-income liberal districts? Yes. Should she make an appearance anywhere else? No. I need you to stay out of poor communities. I need you to stay out of rural communities. I need you to stay out of manufacturing hubs. I need you to stay out of the middle of the country. I need you to stay out of everywhere. And here's why, guys. Here's why. However much you might say, oh, she still has fans and she'll still fire up some people. To an extent, that's true. But however much she fires up any of her base, more centrist-minded Democrats, the reaction is way stronger. So in other words, she unifies the Republican opposition much more than she would ever unify Democrats. And that's relatively proven in the last election. I know, she won the popular vote, but that's not how our elections function. You don't win just based on popular vote. You have to win the Electoral College, and her strategy was wrong for that, and so Trump won. He chipped away at the Rust Belt, but the second she does anything where she takes a proactive role, every single Trump supporter in the country immediately says, whatever problems I may or may not have had with Trump, they're now gone, and I now know it in their mind it's back to she's the ultimate evil, and now we will all stand together in a giant voting block and go hard for Donald Trump. So she unifies the opposition better than anything ever. Ever. So just don't do it. I don't know if it's just narcissism or if she thinks she's actually going to help, but the Democratic Party has to move beyond the Clinton era because substantively they have. That's why we have litmus tests this time around of Medicare for all, free college. All these bold ideas that were scoffed at in 2016 by establishment media and centrist candidates, now they're the norm, and if you don't say you support them, you have less than no chance. So since that's the case, to bring up this relic of a previous generation as if, it's a positive thing. No, people are sick and tired of that, man. Accept the political reality. Her approval rating is in the 30s. That's insanity. So don't do it. Now, I also just want to mention real quick that we learned, so Hillary's not running, we learned that this week. The other thing we learned is Michael Bloomberg is not running. Now that came as a little bit of a surprise because he's a giant narcissist, he's a billionaire, he wants to be the savior, and he wants to say, I'm the good billionaire to save you from the bad billionaire, Donald Trump, alleged billionaire, Donald Trump. But basically, I don't know if he realized that he can't win, or if he sees that the field is too crowded and he's unlikely to win because there are other people repping his kind of ideology. I don't know exactly what the reasoning is, but he says he's not going to run, but he does say he's going to back the Democrats. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens when a lefty likely wins the nomination, because if it's Bernie Sanders, are you still going to back the Democrats? Because these guys, they really do despise Bernie Sanders as much as they despise Donald Trump. They really do. These elitist, moneyed interest folks, these establishment types, they despise Bernie as much as they despise Trump. So I think a lot of them will sit out of it completely or vote third party or try to back Howard Schitz. And they'll be the biggest hypocrites ever because they always scream unity, 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 unity. Meanwhile, when Bernie spoke about unity, he actually meant it, even though he doesn't like Hillary. He said, I can't have Trump win, so he campaigned for her in the general election. I think that a lot of these types like Michael Bloomberg will go, oh shit, Bernie won the nomination. I'm not going to participate. I'm going to sit on the sidelines or vote for Howard Schitz. So that's what he says. He's not running. And then also Jeff Merkley, there was a little bit of chatter on Twitter about how Jeff Merkley was going to run because he tweeted, I'm going to make a big announcement coming in a few days. Now, for those of you who don't know Jeff Merkley, he's actually a very good politician. He's actually, clearly between the centrist lefty divide, he's a clear lefty. He's usually right there on legislation with Bernie and with Ro Khanna and with those folks. So He's a good politician. And it seemed like he was going to run, but he actually gave an announcement where he said he's not going to run for president and he's going to run for re-election for the Senate. So that's good. That's good because, it's so crowded already, and it's just, you don't want anybody who, even though I don't think Merkley would have done well at all, even if he chipped away 0.5% on the progressive side, that's 0.5% that could have gone to another progressive who's already in the race, who has way more name recognition, who's guaranteed to do better than Merkley would. So credit to Merkley, because I really like the guy. He's a good person. He's good on policy issues. He means well, and he made the right decision here to run for the Senate, because we're going to need his vote in the Senate too, by the way. Massively important. Massively, massively important. So anyway, that's your update on what's happening in terms of the race. Hillary Clinton definitely not running. Michael Bloomberg definitely not running. Jeff Merkley definitely not running.